I'm so happy for you. Sorry, do you want to sit there?
So we've got 3 minutes left on the video. We can just wait.
Yeah.
That's
that's fine.
We can just cut that off.
Oh, no, we can, if you want to do the 3 minutes, because people are still settling down and everything, so that's fine.
Well, why don't we test out the light and see how it looks on you?
Sorry. Just him and the, just sitting there. I like that. All right, I think I got to move these guys a little more. That's how I want to do it. Oh, the lamp. There we go.
Let's see.
All right.
So,
Yeah, that's good. Then I'm doing my little kind of turn around. Talking about the audience thing. Yep, okay, we're good.
all right, so yeah, it looks pretty natural.
Reasonably so. I mean, I'm naturally pretty white. That's not the light's fault.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Thank you. So we gotta think of a hashtag just for him now, actually. What should it be? I don't know what it should be, but.
Give me the name. Golden Retriever.
Brady Allen was like, the name of the
Anti-furry.
I'm like, yes.
Yes,
Yeah, I like that. So when we actually do start, are people here going to be able to see this?
Yeah, I'll bring that to the front.
Okay.
So,
Because yeah, I mean, this will be stuff people can write down. I can also easily send this to people later. By the way, this is just for Slide with Notes. This is not. But you're welcome to
like,
Yeah, just. But I'm gonna have to say, if you really want it, you probably should email me because I will forget if you just ask me for it.
I will write a note to myself.
Me too. But yeah, I would be glad to do that.
You
Yeah.
have a business cards?
I do. That's right. Let me grab those since we got a few minutes left on that. Thank you. Again, not great at self-promotion myself sometimes.
Beverly at BeverlyBambury.com.
You're going to count on your photographic memory.
You mean my
Okay.
highly redundant memory for Instagram?
Wow.
That was fast enough. Was it?
Nice. Well, always wish me, darling. And actually, here, you know what? I'll just leave these out. If anybody wants one, please feel free. I have thousands of them, and I want to change something on them, so I kind of would love it if you took them, actually.
No, I have one.
Feel free to take good care of your blue business.
Oh, thank you. Is that?
Yep.
Oh, they're super cute.
Oh.
yeah, they're cool.
It will go here by my husband.
It's like a voice.
I gotta remember not to slowly block you the whole time. Just gonna keep it mysterious, you know? You might walk around and you'll be in camera sometimes. I mean, slides will be up sometimes, so it'll be.
Now, hurry up, Al.
All right, 20 seconds.
I sent you links too in case you wanted to get on.
To Jessica and Cuba.
The cover that was banned from Facebook. Yes.
Really?
But
We'll discuss that later. Only a few seconds before
I want to Jessica Hugo. That's what I want.
Oh. All right, here we go.
All right.
Let me.
I saw it.
That was the humorous.
That was better.
Oh my god.
Live.
Okay. Wait, really now live?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Good morning again, everyone. We're here to do something a little bit more tedious maybe than last time. We're going to make pitch lists. You're going to learn how to write a really, hopefully, effective query letter. Something punchy and short. And what I'm actually going to give you time to do is to actually work on creating a pitch list today. I'm going to talk for a shorter time. And then you're going to, assuming you have a device on which to do this, you can actually start doing some of your research today, and I can go individually and help people out a little bit, okay? And as far as the people online, if you would like a little bit of support on this activity as well, feel free to email me. The link will be in the offer to my website, and you can email me from there if you've got any questions about your pitch list building or query letters. Or if you would like a copy of the slides. I'll be willing to email that to you, just get in touch. So anyway, I'm going to jump right in to the actual info. If you could bring this to the front, monsieur.
share this with the people online as well.
Yeah.
Everyone, okay.
All right. So first thing, and I did recommend this actually in the description of the class. I don't know how many people actually read it ahead of time, which is why I'm bringing it up again. Google has a really great free research course. I think they call it Power Searching course. I'm pretty sure. There's a pre-assessment, so if you take that and you ace it, you're good. You're already good. But it's just you just have to sign in with a Google login. It's very simple. You can do text or videos, whatever works best for you. But this is just the basic syllabus, and what I did was I jumped in and took the post-course assessment, and I aced that, so I knew this was kind of a good fit for my style, and that's why I now share it with everyone. But yeah, my favorite part of it, honestly, is the advanced techniques. If you really just want to look at one thing, most of us know how to put in a phrase in Google, like it's not that hard. But the advanced techniques really gives you a lot of tools for, say you want to see on, I don't know, SF Crow's Nest or something, a specific site, and you want to see if they reviewed a specific book. There's a really easy way to do it that you'll learn on that. So just really great tools for building a pitch list. And that's actually why I included. I use all of this myself. I always have my go-to people, that I have relationships with, as you will also. But, if you want to keep building relationships and you want to find more people who might read your book, right? So the research is good. Okay, move to the next one. So building the actual pitch list, you got to keep it organized. I am not a naturally organized person, so I in particular need to use a lot of tools. You should use what's comfortable for you. I happen to be a big fan of spreadsheets, and this is all on Google Docs. I actually use this because sometimes my clients actually want to be in on it, and then we can easily collaborate. And most of the time, of course, we don't live near each other. So you can do it however you want. Again, being organized has got to work for you, and it should not be prescriptive. But I just have, the name, the URL, who I'm talking to, contact info, notes of various types. So this is just for something I'm working on right now. There's already a review up, 15th November, something's happening here, that kind of thing. And this just helps me keep my calendar straight, so I know, okay, I have to go set up reminders, and I have to poke the author or the editor, at a certain time. And you can use that for yourself if you know you've got a guest blog due on a certain day. You're not going to forget, hopefully, because you're going to have it all written down in your notebook, on your Post-it notes, spreadsheet, whatever is going to work for you. But these are really easy to make. Does anybody else use this sort of thing to keep themselves organized already? Yeah, there's again nothing earth-shattering about what I do. This is the cool thing. There's nothing really complicated or earth-shattering about the physical activities of doing this publicity. You're contacting people, you're trying to keep track of things, but it's all about building that network and creating those connections and not floundering every single time you've got a new thing out, right? So anyway, this is really essential. Again, especially if you're not naturally organized and you're going to forget stuff, set yourself reminders. Do what you've got to do. There's technology. There's really no excuse for missing a deadline on a guest blog post or an interview. So queries, I actually have on the next slide when we get to that, there's actually a structure of how I do queries. And I tend to have a really good response rate. It doesn't mean that they always accept a book, but I usually get response. Really no excuse for missing a deadline. I was like, oh, there's a ghost and it's me. Sorry. Anyway, this is an example of a query. I'm going to read it out loud because the print will be very small for certainly the people here. But this is somebody that I know fairly well. This is actually part of Raw Dog Screaming book, which is why I chose this particular one. And then you're going to see why I did what I did on the next slide. So, hi Molly, I'm contacting you about something other than Cyberworld for a change. Hopefully we get that hammered out soon. This was a personal note to show, let's remember our relationship and that we're already working together on things. I'm writing about a beautiful book called Snowed, published by Raw Dog Screaming Press. It's a YA dark fantasy novel by Stoker Award-winning author Maria Alexander. And my text is gone. Hold on. Oh, here we go. The cover, which I seriously love, is by the brilliant Danielle Serra. It's really gone. Sorry. Amazon pre-order link is here, and you can see I embedded the link. If you don't know how to do that, somebody can show you. It's quick. And here's the cover copy to help you decide. And then, I just put what's on the back of the book. I also have the cover image in the form of a postcard file in line below my signature if you want to take a peek at that. I don't always include an image, but in this case I specifically referenced the image, and it is by a very well-known illustrator. So I thought it's valuable to include this for this particular thing. So I did. I put it down here so it's not distracting from the main message. Anyhow, we'd love to do a giveaway, and maybe an excerpt if you're interested. Perhaps the first chapter, exclusive if you prefer. Let me know if you're interested in the book, for one, and if you are, we'll work out the rest. Very best as always. And this is tutor.com, which is why I said offered the exclusive. Would not do that for most people, but hopefully they'll bite. We'll see. Anyway, so if we go to the next one, you're going to see a little more of why I did what I did. And again, a lot of it's common sense, but sometimes when you're writing your own query, it can be really stressful. Like, oh, what do I do? What are my mistakes? I'm not going to piss them off or bore them, or, you know, it can be a lot of pressure when you're doing it for yourself sometimes. Because, you know, I think when you're doing something for yourself, it's pretty easy to get into a little bit more second guessing and stuff, right? So, are we able to choose the next one? This is the last slide. This is just more notes again. So yeah, greeting, preferably with a name. Somewhere, is it not showing? Sorry.
I'm not sure.
Okay, that's fair.
Continue.
I'll keep going. Greeting preferably with a name. Don't be a lazy jerk. This blogger or reviewer is not being paid. They're taking time out of their day to read your book, and they're doing you a favor. They don't owe you anything. Respect the reviewer. I'm sorry Daniel isn't here anymore, because I'm sure he would be very happy to hear that, but it's absolutely true. And so find their name. Take the time to find their name. If it's not on their About page, which it is 95% of the time, it might be on Twitter, you know, somewhere. It might even be like in the bottom, like, copyright section of the website. It could be, maybe they've done an interview. There's been a few, for example, going back to the Google thing, where I put the blog name, you know, or interview, or blog name owner, and just to, you know, did a name come up somewhere? Maybe they were interviewed somewhere else or something. If you really can't find a name, what I'll usually do is put the blog name and then team. Like, if I didn't know Molly, I might say tour.com team or something like that. So that kind of a way to handle it. So yes, names are actually very important. If there is a possible personal note, you want to get that in early. Molly and I, again, we're working on something already. So that was easy. But for you, it might be, if you don't know the person, I saw you read The Train Derails in Boston, you know, by Jessica McHugh. My book is kind of similar to that. I'm wondering if... I
I like Jessica.
I was blanking on it's right there. You know, my book's kind of similar to that. You know, maybe you would like it. Here's what it's about. So that personal note there in this case is, I see that you reviewed this book, which means you paid attention to what they're doing, and that is something that, again, when somebody just is constantly getting inundated with really generic queries and people bugging them all the time as if, you know, they owe them their time. This fact that you've taken the time to really, like, hear them means a lot to people. It really does. So take the time for that too. It could even just be, if you've really got nothing, I really like the website theme you're using. It really draws you out. I don't know, something. Find something nice to say. And then quickly and briefly, title, author, genre, date of release. And if you're a genre bender, figure something out. You know, you can say, again, you know, the thing you were working on, you can say, you know, parasitic wasp erotica, or like whatever you think you can do. You got to get some kind of genre idea in there, though, because they got to know it matches what they like to read. And you have looked at their review policy, I assume, so you know what they like to read, right? Okay. So put in a link. I usually just use Amazon. It's generic. It's basic. Everyone knows it. It's not that I actually really love Amazon. I have a lot of issues with them, but it's just the easiest thing, I think, for a lot of people. And a lot of them will have affiliate links if they decide to share your book, review your book, or just feature it. Then they know, oh, it's on Amazon. This is, you know, potentially win-win here. And then I usually just put in the cover copy, whatever's on the back of the book, because that should be hopefully intriguing and cause people to be interested. Sometimes if there might be other situations where I put a synopsis. Like if I were to do a poetry book, I know somebody asked me about that, like 2 people, that's right. You know, I might just say something about what, you know, the poetry's about or something, but often the cover copy really is just good enough. And I usually, remember how I had that, we can go back to that later, but remember how I had it offset, the cover copy was sort of a little bit offset like a quote? you remember that or no? I like to do that just because it shows that it's separate from my text. And that's a little formatting thing, but it just visually makes it easier, I think, to scan for the reader. And then the most important thing, ask for what you want clearly. Don't beat around the bush. Don't say, gosh, it'd be really nice if maybe if you have the time, no, say, I want reviews. If you don't have time to review it, I would definitely be open to an excerpt to give away, So yeah, ask for what you want, and then provide acceptable alternatives. Sometimes a guest blog post isn't worth your time. If it's a smaller blog and you're not really quick or good at writing guest posts, don't offer it. Only offer what you're willing to do. And that's and this direct asking in marketing speak, that's sort of oh god, and now I'm blanking the call to action. Thank you. Sorry, you've got to provide that call to action, and then give a genuine thanks. I was a little more casual with Molly because, again, we work together on other things. But I'll often say, thanks so much for your time. I know you get a lot of email. Or, I really appreciate you taking the time if you've read this far. Or something along that time because, again, their time is their most valuable commodity as it is for all of us. So that's it. Then a polite closing. Have a great day, best, whatever, and just that's it. And it's good to have some other contact info, just a small signature file. If you've got a really huge one, consider rethinking that. A few lines is good. Have a link to your website, maybe email address, something. I have a phone number in there, which I really hope nobody ever uses my phone number. I don't recommend you do that as an author. I don't think it's necessary, but for me as a business person, it looks legit, but it's just my cell phone. And if anyone actually called me, I'd be like, who are you? But yeah, really, for what I do, I've got to have it in there, I think, for legitimacy. But that's it. And, I talked a lot about what was a super quick email, but this is something that you can use pretty much every time. I almost never deviate from this unless it's somebody I know really, really well. And I can just, like Quillery is a sort of small to medium-sized blog that I've been working with for years now. For her, I might just be like, Sally, here's a link, what do you think? But Norm, you've got to have a good relationship to do that with someone. So that is it as far as what I have to present. So I want to answer some questions now. And then I'd like you guys actually, those of you who are interested in starting to work on a list, I'd like you to start working on that, and I can come around and just help people answer individual questions. So, any questions at all? Comments? I hope this means that it was clear, and that's why nobody...
I do have some comments.
Yes,
I would like to strongly underline what you said about saying something personal or doing a little research.
Mm-hmm.
The more effort that you put into learning about who you're contacting, the more it will pay off. Either you may discover they aren't a good fit for you, which is valuable, and then you're saving yourself time and the other person time. Or because if you're doing anything like, for instance, we get queries all the time. Lots of people do not put the effort in. They will send the most unprofessional slapdash, like they probably had a little too much to drink and just fired this off. Like, hey, my book is awesome. Do you want to read it? That is...
It's not for you to decide if your book is awesome.
Right. And it's not going to get you anywhere because...
Also saying my book is terrible doesn't work either.
You're right. It does not. Yeah, it does not. No value judgments about your work. Let others decide.
But I definitely think the approach of learning about who you're contacting and then trying to tailor something or to make it clear that you have put in the effort to try to understand them, because people will just do this kind of blanket stuff. I mean, they all send queries for things that you don't even do, and it just wastes your time.
Yes, absolutely. I've had people who want me to publish their book.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you know what a publicist is? And I would say that, but I'm thinking it. And, and this is it. And I talked a little brief bit about the review policy. If you've never looked at a reviewer website, I assume you all have, but just in case, maybe someone at home hasn't or something, every site has a contact policy, review policy, something. It might be called something different. It could just be on their about page, but they're all going to say, first of all, whether they're accepting reviews, queries, and some of them aren't. Don't send someone if they're closed. Unless you really know them well, just don't. You're being an asshole if you do that, okay? So don't. If you've got a weird, creepy romance, but they don't read any romance, Just don't. Even if it's, you'd be like, oh, well, mine's different. But they heard that a million times. And even if it's true, just skip over it, go to the next one, okay?
That's the name of my creepy romance. Just don't.
Just you know, and the weirder the stuff you write, the fewer things there may be for you, places for you to go. But that's fine, because quality over quantity. It's a bit like the social media thing. Quality over quantity. If you get 5 really solid reviews, that's better than nothing. And you know, it's hard. And I will say this process is very time consuming. Doing this research, making sure it's the right people. This is why you can do like a blog tour thing for $150 or $200, but this is kind of a slapdash. It just goes out to everyone. There's no research. I've had authors who pay for them who get absolutely nothing out of them. I've had some that have done a little better, but that's fine. And there's nothing wrong with that service. It's great for certain genres, but I mean, I do charge more than that, and this is why. Because this research can be very time-consuming. If it's a book that's a little bit cross-genre or a brand new author, I may have to do some different type of research. And the research is valuable, so when you're doing this yourself, yes, it's really hard to make the time, but if you're going to do this yourself and you're going to do it right, I'm sure you want to, because you want people to read your work. Let's leave sales out of it. Sales are awesome, but even if you just have this emotional drive to want people to read your work, you've got to pick the right people to talk to, and so you have to spend the time finding out who they are. It's funny how much of this is about relationships. Yesterday, social media was building relationships. This is building relationships. It's a world of people, and we can't forget that there's people on the other side of the screen. So yeah, any other questions or comments or? Thanks for having my back, Jen. Okay, so I guess this was thorough enough, and people might be ready to get started. So yeah, I'd say if you want, I don't know, put on some music or something, or they can just listen to us chat, because I'm going to just start wandering around a bit. And if any questions come up in there. But again, yeah, there's people online. Again, if you want to email me about this, I will be back home Tuesday, and I'll be glad to reply and help out.
Actually, I was wondering, I did have a question.
Sure.
Amazon with the paid book giveaways for your book, does that work, or like the giveaways on Goodreads?
The giveaways on Amazon and Goodreads, they can be good. I actually think a few like limited copies, short term. I don't actually dig the 30-day giveaways on that. Yes, it gives people more time, but most people are really only looking at the what's about to expire part anyway, or whatever, ending soon or something. Do it for a few days, put out, say, hey, 3-day giveaway, woo, kind of thing. It creates the urgency. It's like, oh, for the next month, this is up. People are like, I got time. But if you say it's a day or 2 days or 3 days, and they're like, oh, I better go do this. And of course, and you're really good about this, but adding, if you do tweet or Facebook or whatever about a giveaway, ask people to share. It's actually proven they will be more likely to share it if you ask. And it's cheesy. Probably don't want to do it all the time. But when there's something you really want shared, people are like, oh, yeah, sure, no problem. But if you don't, they might just click like and move on, right? So, but yeah, I do like them. I think just, moderate investment in them, though. Because a lot of people just join them all, and they don't really pay attention. Right. So that's there's a bit of a risk on it, but they definitely can get you reviews if the right person's getting your books.
I got a review out of it.
Fantastic, yeah.
It's serious.
Yeah. Oh, no, and I do like them. I just think, yeah, you gotta, just be more judicious, I guess. A lot of people just put up the months and, yep. Okay. So was anybody actually planning to work on a list? Does anybody have like tablet computer they were planning to work on it?
I was going to ask you to just glance at my list.
Absolutely, yep. Because I mean that is what this part is for, is to actually try to do a bit of workshop stuff. So.
What are we listing there? I'm sorry.
Oh, just if you're creating a pitch list for people to ask for reviews or publicity or whatever. Yeah. So basically, I'm saying you should probably do some work, is what I'm really saying. I could just stand up here and say corn. Do you want me to do that?
It would help so much.
Yeah, so, yep. Anyway, this was all in the description of this session, so if you didn't read it, that's not my fault. Anyway, all right, so that's it. I'm going to go look at Hannah's list here and do your thing, guys, and ask questions if you got them. Oh, actually, wait, no, I'm
Do you
gonna
wanna
sit.
sit here? I can move.
Actually, no, you know what? This will be good for my shoulder. Otherwise, I'll be squishing right into her.
So this is the probably slightly more convoluted list that I put together. So I found a website that says Google. It is literally a review directory, and they have it organized. And so this is what I put together based on that. So if it's highlighted, and some of them were praised for.
Yeah.
I do need to probably sit down and like.
Do you need a dynamic?
Yeah.
I feel like that's
But,
how
like,
I fix whatever you
read where the people who
Like, just
either
gave you a
responded
donut
and said
with
no
that
thank
donut.
you, or they review biggest entry and like didn't like it.
Oh,
So I knew
yeah.
that like it wouldn't be really. And the ones that were green were the ones that I sent them to. As you can see.
Finally, someone's like, what the hell is that in the door?
I'm still doing it, so.
Finally!
Whether they will or not. Like this was literally. Like my life, everything.
What?
Yeah, what are we talking about?
Overview of it. Is that like a good replacement or?
It's not great. And I think part of it is your book is not like, it doesn't fit solidly in the pocket of a specific
So
genre.
here's what I
Yeah.
learned from this was that so here's funny thing, as I've been writing the series, I assumed that because it was sort of fantasy, like shooting short roles, I would like it. And the funny thing that I've learned is that teenage girls hate my book. And people who like should know better because it doesn't follow the genre rules. Really like my book. And so I think that's
like, I can't wait to look at my phone or something like that.
So,
Well, I would,
Yeah, I was
one thing that was
okay,
okay,
so honey, you can go off. Well, there was a part where I didn't know, and I was like, when Charlie just started screaming.
I think you
Yeah.
people sometimes just don't like things that did or don't look like. But there definitely are some rules for them. You might, I might like to actually look at the list and just see if I have suggestions for something to add.
like I had one like it's funny because like the one person who I had like really good results where she's reviewed both books at this point. She's a librarian, like the definition of somebody. She loved it. Whereas this Book Nation chick, like, hated it.
There's a few places out there that do like vampire fictions. It might or might not work because it might not be what they're expecting. And that's another downside, right? And this is one of the really hard things that people were doing things that don't fit. And of course, I love it.
Yeah.
But it also does make it hard to sell. And that's difficult. But I'll tell you what, again, I'm going to just have her share this with us. I'll hold it.
It's gonna be when
I know there's a lot, but I'm sure there's
It's been.
No. The funny part will be because it'll be like.
Because again, like,
I really
in the spring, I'll keep doing
I have got you.
3 more.
Oh.
Exactly.
Oh.
That was my saving school. It's funny.
And I do need to at some point go through and like reduce this down, like people
For sure.
that people that I sent stuff to in April, like literally, or like, you know,
Just sit there like.
I wasn't sure.
It's okay to follow up. I would say even.
No.
If you send them the book and they said they can review it.
Like-
I think it's 4 weeks or 5 weeks.
So to be fair,
Like
most people, like
the
once,
military party.
I would say I read the book to 2 people that I never heard back from. So that's the date that I first contacted. And this is the date that I actually sent the first one to. And, you know, most of them got back to me because I kept the,
Well, that's good. But I would say if you sent it to someone, if you just sent it to Mary and you haven't heard back and you don't have a relationship, I mean, follow up or something. But if you had enough to the point where you actually said, hey, okay, here's the PDF or whatever, and you have your background, just send a quick note. All I say is, hey, just doing some follow-ups, you know. Just go ahead and do it. So even if they're like, huh? Then they would be like, oh, right, this. Yeah. I mean, this is the other thing, is we don't know what's happening on their end, and I have access on their end.
Here's something else really funny.
So it feels weird at first, because it's kind of against the nature to be like, but I realized, you know, just we've got you.
That's the sequel.
So I some follow-ups.
Please.
You know, thanks. You know, like that's all. You don't even need to say anything else. And that's really quick. And it's just that very polite. I would recommend doing that with people.
I think that's my favorite memory.
But yeah, no, seriously, like, I will compare it to like some of my work.
A death list.
Yeah,
It's
so
a
like,
difference.
all the worms.
Or I can just, I don't have like a mental list because I do it kind of by number by
Like their birthday,
But,
their death
yeah.
date, how they
I
died,
feel free,
and
I
then
will not be able
color
to
coded into like type of.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh. It's personal.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
I want to be a sci-fi author now. I want to go on this path.
and so, like, one of the things I like other people I know who write.
Oh, I thought that's Marge Simpson at first. That's hilarious.
Mark Simon.
Yeah.
So a lot of these people are poets.
Oh, yeah, I know.
She wrote a little review.
I don't think I even do actually.
She's a really very nice science fiction review website. That I'm really active congoer too. She's very good. Her name is Andrea something.
Yeah.
It's popular. It's really cool.
It's a short story.
But so
Yeah, I know.
really starting. Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually kind of neat because like I was reading about there's a video going around on Facebook of 84 inch
Also the question
like
about
moving around, and I'd never really heard that term before. So I started doing all this research, and someone contacted me about a published Christmas. And they're like, how would you like to do 4 calling birds? And I was like, yup! It's
Oh, yeah.
So it's about
I
like.
definitely do, but
It's fun
I will
because
say
they never, it's never publishers. It's like the early 90s.
And this is the difficult thing, and this is why I love reviewing.
Sailor Falls.
Yes, and do a good job.
Oh,
also, oh, no, you're more small.
Yeah,
okay.
stuff.
And then, yeah, so I would go, okay, small press.
Yeah,
Yeah,
obviously all
that's
that
the
work.
downside of it.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it's, yeah, and I'm
Sorry, I left my copy down.
no, I was just.
Because I wrote.
It really is.
Yeah.
Honestly. And I know people, and even when I
Yeah,
was
so I
they're like, they were like, we might have to go to IFC for lunch, you know, so you can afford it, kind of. So, which I did not know anything about this until that visit, but yeah. And so part of it is just gonna be, if they've kind of got this opinion.
I'm a genius.
Yeah, there were definitely times where I was like,
This is the most
amazing thing I've ever written.
Look around at other parts.
And then I decided not to, and I wrote
the geographical area. I mean, maybe something, I don't know, how far are you actually from like, you know, Detroit, or?
I have a smart
Yeah,
you should worship me.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe just check out some other places that might be a little less.
Oh, there we go.
And I mean, you know,
That's my autobiography.
most places
I'm
are gonna
smart
say
you
no.
should worship me.
Period, if you're not a publisher, honestly. But it never hurts to ask. Okay, no ask, you're not gonna get yes at all. And I think just having that polite approach,
Well, I
of,
did
you know,
at
hey,
one
speak to the
point
person who
start
sets up readings or whatever like that, and just, and if possible.
Autobiography.
Right.
You know, I try to find an email, bookstores can be very slow on email.
Right.
So sometimes calling's best, just kind of poke at it.
Fictionalized autobiography of
Don't be afraid to
my
talk to like Barnes and Noble either. I mean, they can be tough as well, but sometimes you get somebody who likes to put on more events. You just never know. It's up to who's managing it.
Okay.
And that means there's a lot of individuals.
I totally like started writing.
But yeah, definitely do that.
Okay.
All that said, this in-person one, you already go to Barnes and Noble. I don't know if you guys get a table in the dealer's room or not. I typically don't recommend that for when you don't have a lot of like labor.
Right, yeah.
I would say if you can find a table share though, see if another small press. And then you can only turns, but then maybe you can group them or because getting out there and really networking is really what's the best. But yeah, but if you're a book discussion, I think that's amazing on there. Sometimes it's take a share.
But that's my favorite part was when you ask there's like the scene of like Lot and his daughters, like I'm getting a job so they can have babies.
And they have like volunteer staff that you can put in there.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, it was like a little it was really good. It was across the hall from where they had.
Well, I mean, it comes down to one of two things.
That was the first time they tried to
Either
like, they got
it's
such a
just
positive
pretty much
response.
okay with
Yeah.
or there were more than
Really
just
smart
that.
just to chuck all the books in one place together.
There's a lady I know, I think she only does Canadian cons. It's called Miss Hopper.
Okay.
If you want to just jot it down and double check, she might come into the US and maybe in Michigan because she's Canadian. Miss Hopper, like a
sign my
hopping
copy?
bear.
Oh, of course.
And her name is
Where do you want me to sign? Just the front
sorry,
or?
I'm terrible.
story.
I'm pretty sure it's Pacific.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Everybody else has
Yeah, exactly.
Your
But she's
stories,
just
would you sign it 55 times?
And, find out if she goes into the US. And so she basically does what that book does.
Yeah.
She takes all kinds of small presses, some independent people, and she goes from con to con to con. So she has a few of my husband's comic books that it has in VCon this weekend. So yeah, she's another person who kind of does that, and you can just send her
that's a
books
great
and just
idea.
sign and deal with it. Oh, it's a brilliant idea, and she's been doing really well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
really enjoyed the summer.
So yeah, that's kind of those are some thoughts.
And then, yeah, I mean, I guess the interesting question would be like, do you try to go sort of traditional poetry route, or do you go more for the niche?
You're probably better off looking at sort of the niche stuff.
Yeah,
I stick with his
No, for
funny
sure, because
face.
you gotta know who your audience is, and if they're not reviewing your type of poetry, you might very well keep it some time.
I think that's true.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, I think it's just you two working on things right now, so. I'll tell you what, why don't we just go ahead and end this? I can just do a little final,
Sure, yeah.
and then that's it, and we can just, as people do things or have questions, I'll just keep an eye on my email.
Okay, okay.
All right?
Oh, I had another question for you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Am I on there?
Yes.
Okay.
Do copies, physical print copies, get a better response from reviewers than e-copies?
Oh, physical versus print. That's a really good question. Typically, yes. However, you also have to balance out the cost of the shipping with their audience. If they're somebody who is new, has maybe 20 Twitter followers or whatever, don't send them a physical book because you're probably not going to get a return on your investment from that. Unless it's somebody you really, when you want to support to grow through their blog or something. But generally, I try to only send ebook review copies to people unless they have like a certain level of following that's going to make it worth your money.
But it's always good to check first, right? Because some people really prefer e-copies.
Yeah, oh yeah, some people
So,
do, absolutely.
it's better for you, and they
Yeah.
don't want the physical book.
No, absolutely, and more reviewers than ever are happy with ebook copies at this point because their homes get full, So yeah, you always just check and see what the preference is. But yeah.
Should it be part of your query?
I wait and see if they're interested in the first place, and then if they are, I say, great, I've got these options, and if they're not a larger place, I don't even offer the print. I just say, hey, I've got Mobi, EPUB, PDF, what can I get you? And if they're like, well, I only read print, and I'm like, well, nobody reads your blogs, and I'm like, sorry.
I actually got, I can't even tell you how many people have contacted me because they want to read my book and review it, and I'm like, that's great, but I'm not sending you a hard copy to India. I don't know what it is with India.
Exactly, right.
Like, they really want me to read my book and would be happy to review it for me, but only if I send them a physical copy.
Yeah, and for all we know, maybe they're just collecting some to sell or something. I mean, who even knows? But yeah, you've got to balance.
I need rolling paper.
Yeah, you got to balance it with the benefit to you, because I mean that's really the important thing. This is about you and your work. It is about you. So being a little bit selfish is okay in that way. But yeah, I have had a couple of reviewers tell me, yeah, I tend to get to physical ones faster because they're literally sitting there reminding me every day I see them. But it's ultimately a personal choice. Some people have a large budget for shipping out books, and that's fine for them. But most people, I think, individually don't. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to actually close the session since most people have gone, but a few people are working, and it's probably boring just to sit and watch people type and research. But again, if you have any questions, Beverly at beverlybambury.com, which you can also get to through my website. And that's it. Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody.